Thanks, Eva, for the introduction. I'm going to really just kind of give you an overview of my consulting journey. Based on what Eva said, take the experience, take the designations, take the thought leadership, writing, presenting, all the different industry associations and boards I'm on. I'd say I'm pretty consulting-ish. That would be how I would describe myself. I'm very consulting-ish. So yeah, really, I do have a company. My company is called Plan in Motion, and Plan in Motion is a consulting company, as I said, focused on transformation. It's not an IT company, but I do business process, technology strategy, and road mapping. I do vendor selection for key softwares like ERP and HCM, and a lot of related services related to that, like org change management and such. I'd say I was a born questioner and fixer. A bit of a trailblazer. There were few women in technology in the 90s when I got involved in this industry. There was some emerging software and early digital trends. There was lots of interesting stuff happening. And being part of consulting really felt meaningful and interesting to me. Well, why tech consulting? Well, let's go back in time here into the time of Y2K. So around Y2K, I wrote an article for a CMA newsletter questioning all the hype around Y2K. Well, that went viral. Well, what does that mean in the 90s? Well, it meant it got reprinted in one newsletter and reprinted in another newsletter, ended up on a coffee table in a boardroom somewhere. But essentially, I became a tech expert overnight based on that. But what that showed me was the power of networking and how important the power of content, relationship, and associations was. All my work that I've ever done comes from either referrals or from networking. That's it. I don't promote any other way. So in terms of CMC, through a networking event with the Certified Management Accountants, the CPAs, I discovered the partnership with CMC. So at the time I could fast track the program, and I felt that I could benefit from a consulting foundation and being part of an organization that focused solely on consulting, which was my area of interest. I took a journey through, as I said, accounting designation. I went through the 2000s in a stint in software consulting. I did some independent contracting in around 2010. I went to a research and advisory firm, went back into industry, and really focused on learning that side. But really, what I wanted to do was get out on my own, and the CMC helped me launch that, ability to go out, step my own company up, distinguish myself in the consulting industry, and have that confidence to be a consultant and on my own. So the CMC was a really good fit for me in that regard and gave me that exposure. Well, why did I choose the CMC? Well, really for me, I look at it as a way to stand out. I needed credibility, I needed some differentiation, I needed to get some experience and contacts in the consulting field, some synergies with other practitioners. I felt that was something that would be really helpful. Also, it gave me a way to stay current and connected, access to resources, a foundation of best practices, and most importantly, a professional development track. As a solopreneur, you forget about yourself, you're focusing on your clients. It sort of encouraged me to keep up that continuous improvement, keep up that professional development. But really the journey that I took through CMC helped me define my personal value proposition and put my authentic self out there in consulting. Right, the CMC program allowed me to focus and look closely at my skills, my tendencies, and realize that management consulting was a natural fit and give me the ability to go out there. Well, the affiliations helped me. As I mentioned, a solopreneur, that could be very lonely. I think of the lone wolf. With the CMC, I've kind of got a peer group or a pack and a community that I can leverage. And I've also connected with micro groups. I found that really helpful. Micro groups that were in my interest or location. It also helped my business. I mentioned, the aspect of being ready to go out on my own. But having something behind me in terms of ethics and things like that to help my business, help me focus on providing value and leveraging some of those tools and things that were available through the CMC. An example client, well, I worked recently for an alternative energy startup. They have the potential to completely transform the energy sector, like fusion. We're talking major things, brand new industry, prototyping stage, unique processes, super high profile. Investor-backed and highly regulated, but a very high-profile organization. The issues that we were trying to solve with this organization was we had to address in a very complex supply chain, rare materials that were very not readily available with extremely complex sourcing needs. We had a greenfield technology strategy. Everything was starting from scratch, all applications, everything. And we had a massively growing workforce from 30 to 500 in 5 years. It was massive growth. What did they need? What was my proposition? How did I get this? I really looked at 2 key pillars for me to get this business. The first one was providing and showing credibility, and the second was on the delivery side. I had to impress that executive team to win this business. I had to align with the culture. And essentially, really for me, how did I stand out personally? Well, they assembled expertise from around the world. I was known in the ERP community for business process, such. I had a personal referral from 2014 who remembered me. I put together a killer pitch deck. I understood their mission, and ultimately I fit their culture, and that was key. Second, how effective, what did I have to do? Well, we had to move fast and focused. We needed online delivery, remote working sessions. We had to provide templates, pre-developed workshops. There was a ton of stuff that had to be done online, and we had to be super adaptive and flexible. We had combinations of workshops and all sorts of things. What was the result? Well, the result was let them go and build and innovate on their Fusion prototype. Let me help them plan out their roadmap for technology, help them provide those efficient, repeatable processes based on best practices, help them with governance of their organization, things that they weren't necessarily great with. So in summary, I think every consultant really should think about defining your own unique value proposition, your own brand, giving you the consulting confidence to be authentic and memorable, and using all your available networks and affiliations to help you get your message out there. That is key. Use everything within your power to associate with those groups. So thanks a lot. I really want to spend some time talking to the groups here and answering some questions for you today.
Thank you much. Thank you so much, Suanne. And thank you so much for taking us on your journey. I really love how you sort of positioned it from, initial situation and sort of how you navigated through that. So I see a question from Azadeh, and I was wondering, I might just unmute you if I can do that. So you can ask your question. Do you want to go ahead, Azadeh, and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Suanne. That was really great, very helpful. Really great to listen to and inspiring. I'm wondering for someone who's, a little bit kind of a few years into the game and is switching between consulting and full-time and still trying to figure it out. What would you say is something that, kind of was a little bit of a game changer for you, something that really made a big difference? Not like super early on, but, kind of when, if there was a fork in the road and you decided to go this way or that way, something that maybe you studied, or an event that happened, or somewhere that you attended, or someone that you met. Maybe there's a story there. I would be interested in learning that.
I think there were lots of different, thanks for the question. I think there were a lot of different items that came up over time. I mentioned the Y2K story. I mean, that really resonated with me. Like, wow, okay, like I can actually get out there. This event's happening in the world, and I'm just not just an accountant, but I'm an accountant, and I'm just working in consulting, and there's all this stuff going on in the world, and there seems to be a tremendous potential with this. And not only that, it's, what's something current and present and prevalent that you can utilize to actually go ahead and launch yourself from. So for me, there was first and foremost that event that occurred that let me think about, what it was and what it meant, in that space, and it kind of launched me to technology consulting. So that was really first. Second was a person in my life that, said, it was sort of a mentor of sorts. I was going into law, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And he kind of said, well, he was a lawyer. He said, well, what do you really want to do law? What is it about you like? And we talked about what I truly liked, and we really mapped out, problem solving. We mapped out presenting, being in front of a group, writing, and, we talked about all those different things. And I realized that consultant kind of fit that profile as well. And it was more flexibility. than what I would have in my opinion at the time to go through law school and to go through that law degree. So yeah, those are the couple of things that I would say, really kind of gave me some opportunities to pivot on the path of consulting.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.